YouTubers, and welcome to another episode here on ESGNet of MLB 16 The Show, Kansas City Royals franchise. This is episode number 11 for the Royal Court Insider. So, today we are going to take a look here at the Royals, currently 66-23 here at the break, looking very sharp with a 20.5 game lead over the White Sox. There you see the rest of the standings here in the American League. And of course, we'll show you the National League. But so far, the first half of the Royals have been very, very successful. Of course, we had some issues with some injuries. Of course, Lorenzo Cain was out for a while there for the first month and a half of the season. Then you had Morse was also injury prone. He had an injury or two. Escobar, he and a couple other players there really struggling there. Moustakas finally found his spot there in the order. Now he's in batting in the third slot there. Hosmer, Gordon, and Lynn all fired up and ready to play really pretty much almost every single day. Hosmer had that 15 or 14 game hitting streak. And it was just pretty crazy and pretty amazing how the season has started off. Like I said, we've only lost 23 games so far here this season, and really taking the National League or the American League Central by storm. Hopefully, we can continue that going into the second half. Let's take a look here at some of the numbers right now for the pitching staff, and talk about a pitching staff we've had so far. How can we forget about them? The pitching staff, actually, no, this is actually All-Star numbers. My bad. But the pitching staff, go back to that, has been amazing. We've had Felix Hernandez, who we picked up during the off-season there. Got him. He's had a perfect game so far here this season. And then, we got Vargas, who's been a great day two starter. Could possibly, he could easily be a day one starter. Definitely Danny Duffy, who's been just putting up the numbers there. He's our by far the best pitcher on our squad. He's a day three starter. So that might be something that we'll have to look into during the next off season here coming up. But we still got plenty of baseball to play. I mean, we still got plenty to go here. And I just hope we're not like Royals in the past where we start off really well and then we start spiraling down to the point where we end up losing 20 games straight. We don't want to see that, and that's very just not acceptable at all for this ball club whatsoever. Those days of losing 100 games or more, no longer accepted. That happens, there will be a cleaning of the house. Gerard Dyson there, you see his numbers. And of course, he's trying to be an all-star here this season. He's done a really good job there, especially in the center field position there. There's been times where he's the leadoff guy. He did it very well. Still in the bases there, kind of still trying to figure that out for him and a couple others on the ball club. But for the most part, the Royals as a whole has been great. But what has been really, really successful so far here for this ball club, and that is the young pitching that we've been getting. The bullpen has been by far superb, but the two young rookies that we have, Brendan Shipley and Eddie Butler, have been playing out of this world. Almost like veteran-like pitching at times. Now, they've had their times where they've had games where they've showed themselves as rookies and have been knocked out. Only been in the game for 2 innings and given up 5 or 6 runs in the game, and it had to be pulled out. But they've shown a lot more of what the potential that they have for this future for this ball club. And potential to be, day one, day two starters, here going down the road here, in year, 3, year 2 or 3, if they stick with this ball club here. So that is going to be, the future looks really bright for them. I don't see them being moved or anything. I think, if anything, during the offseason here, if we haven't already, we're going to try to sign them to long-term contracts. I think with Brandon Shipley, for the most part here, I'm pretty sure we'll probably, if we have the money and the space for him, he's going to probably get a 5-year deal, hands down. Butler, on the other hand, will probably get somewhere close to a 3-year deal with us during the offseason. I know right now, I believe they have just a 1-year contract with us because they are Rule 5 players, and those players you have to put on the Major League roster there, so they can get at least 1 year of service with the ball club. But for the most part, we are going to try to sign those guys to a big long-term contract there. And I say big, I mean anywhere from 3 to 4 years there for our ball club there. So pitching wise right now, starting pitcher wise right now, I feel confident. All the guys that we have right now are in their late 20s, early 30s. So if with the exception of freak accidents happening to us, we should be should be fine in that area. There you see Gordon right there, 23 home runs, just in the running right there. Like I said, those guys that's hitting 4, 5, and 6. It's just, that's the heart of the order. I love using those guys. Those guys coming up to bat. Those especially when there's runners on board there. You can say their numbers are even heightened when they have runners in scoring position there. But for the most part, if pitching wise, when it comes to bullpen, the bullpen, you got to tip their hat to them. They've come in games where they didn't have to. There was not so much pressure on them, and that's how it should be. Sometimes you want those bullpen pitchers to come in maybe down by a run, or maybe even a chance they try to win the game themselves. But for the most part, the starters did great. They've worked, a lot of these starters. I've been trying to lay off at most times there, especially with Shipley and Butler, trying to get them 5 good quality start innings, and that's helped quite a bit. But then there's been times where I've kind of like, oh man, they did so well in the 5th. Let's go and put them in the 6th, and then I, okay, well they did well in the 6th. There was no problem. Let's go push them to the 7th. And that's something we're, the second half we're going to have to really watch for. I think Shipley, we're going to keep him at somewhere between 6 and 7 innings. As for Butler, we're going to keep him, I think we're going to try to keep him at 5. So if we can get 5 good, solid quality innings, we can get some runs on the board there for him, especially give him run support. I think he's had quite a few games where he's had some pretty good help from the position players there helping him out. So I think we could do something. We can set that up for him. But I am going to try to watch their pitch count a lot more. I think both of them haven't got over the 100 mark, over the century mark when it comes to pitches this season. I may be mistaken. I think they may have 1 or 2 games. But we're not going to try to push them as much here the second half. On days they're not going to be pitching, there will be some days we'll have some spot pitching. I am going to be using Jeremy Guthrie a little bit more. Also, we're going to start bringing up some young guys from the Omaha Ball Club with the Naturals. So you'll possibly see Aaron Brooks coming up. He's been up with us before, but we have also brought him. We brought him up, and we've also brought him down to Omaha. Just work out some kinks there with his game, some mechanical issues there with him. Same thing with Ventura. That's of course right now. That's where he's with. He's with Omaha right now. We have plans to bring him back here in the second half. Have him be our day 4 starter there. Day 5, I think that 5th spot in the rotation will probably be a spot start position, just depending on who we have available and who's willing to be called up and get some starts. There's also some other players that we drafted during this past draft and the draft before that could possibly make an appearance this season. I've been getting a lot of good reports from their coaches there in the farm leagues there in Double A and a couple in Triple A and Double A there. So that's something we could really go into in the second half. So really, pretty much, I mean. With the exception of some, get away from, the injury bug in there and stuff like that, we could really, we're running away with the division right now. We can really do a lot of stuff. So we can really get some young guys in there, get some experience in there, and to really help us out here as we get closer to, to the stretch here. So second half, we got a lot more divisional games coming up. I think we got a lot more White Sox. I think the first game we got coming up here. After the All-Star break, we got after the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game. Then we got a series with the White Sox, Twins, even Cleveland coming up. And so those are going to be really tough games because, hey, they're chasing after us. We have the top spot. They want what we have. And they want to try to get some, try to cut the distance between them and us as much as possible, as frequently as much. So that is something we're going to be working on. Coming up, and those will be, like I said, really important games for us in our ball club. But I think with the center field position right now, I think Dyson, we may see him as a guy that we'll see more on the field more often. I think Lorenzo Cain's days as a Royal probably are going to be coming up here soon. Same thing with Escobar. I'm in a possible trade right now. Or talks with some teams. One of the teams is the Padres. I've been looking at their ball club, and they have Nick Markakis and I believe Jace Peterson, two guys that are willing to give up to us that are Markakis is a little older, but Jace is young. I think right now in real life he's with the Atlanta Braves. He's been doing well with them. But I think in this game right now he's doing well with San Diego, the team he originated from. And that could be a trade there. We can have him as our shortstop there for the next 2 or 3 years. He's young. He's got a good bat and great fielding there that we could use. We could utilize him for the years to come. Now, if that trade does not happen, I decide to go somewhere else. We'll still trade Escobar, but we may go after something else. We may go after a arm or some kind of pitching situation, and then Zubris will be our day-to-day shortstop, everyday shortstop. But also too, looking at some prospects, we could possibly do that, get some prospects with him, which will be really valuable for us because we'll get a lot more of that trade than we would if we traded Escobar and Cain for some guys that are already ready for the major or any part of Major League Baseball. I really looking at it, and I got like a whole couple notebook pages of some possible trades there that we could utilize for ourselves. Take a look here at some of the numbers there from a lot of these guys, and these are guys right now are kind of our star players. I would say right now for the first half of the season, our MVP, oh man, it's a tough one. Hosmer is one of them. I think the other one would have to be Adam Lind. I think that Adam Lind pickup that we had during the offseason was such a great off-season pickup from him. So glad that he was able to sign with us, and he pretty much he doesn't have a big role in this ball club. I mean, he's really he's only up to bat on against left-handed pitching, so he's obviously seen a lot of left-handed pitching this season, and it's taking advantage of that. Now, will he be our everyday DH guy? Probably not. That role, especially if we do some moving around here, that role could go to Ben Zobrist again. I know I said he could be our everyday shortstop, but if we can't find anybody for Escobar, in which there's a likelihood there, then Zobrist could be our everyday DH. But also too, I've been looking at Alex Gordon. He could be a guy that we can have as our everyday DH. and bat against righties because he has great numbers against righties. And then we can we can bring up somebody from our farm club to play left field, and we got some really good left fielders. I mean, one of them is Bubba Starling. We can have him be our left fielder out there. So, like I said, we got a lot of guys that can play some multiple positions, and that's what I love doing. I love finding guys that can play more than one position, especially guys that can go from the outfield to the infield and the infield to the outfield. Those are valuable guys. They're some cornerstone players there that you can really build off of, and have them when you're in a jam. When you need to give a break to an infielder, you can bring a guy from the outfield and bring him infield, or vice versa. So that's going to be really helpful for us here coming up in this second half. There you see Brandon Shipley's numbers, and I'm telling you, I mean, pitching with this kid is so fun. I mean, both of them. There's you see Eddie Butler's numbers there, but pitching for. And I think these numbers might be a little off there. I think Butler does have some wins there for himself. But, for the most part, this season, these pitchers, right, those two pitchers right there, especially Shipley, it's been so easy to, just manipulate pitches, and just strike guys out. Using different combinations of pitches to get guys chasing and stuff like that. It's been so much fun. And I think you guys can tell that from a lot of the episodes there, especially when I'm pitching as those guys, that it's just, it's just been so fun to just use those two guys and just showing off what they can do. But there you see the team performance there, and of course there's some on the right-hand side there. There's the numbers there for some of the goals that we need to make throughout the course of the season, not just the season, but the month. Each month we have some kind of goals, or throughout the season, or just overall in the years as being the GM there. So far, we've done a good job there. Of course, we haven't met our yearly goal yet, which is to win the division. And if the season ended today, we would definitely have that right now. So that is just take a look there at some of the stuff there that we needed, some goals that we needed to complete and needed to accomplish. And like I said, we've been doing that here quite often. All right. So that being said, I think this is going to wrap up the episode here of the Royal Court Insider here for the Kansas City Royals. It's been a great first half here. Hopefully the second half can continue being great. And just continue building on to this ball club here with the pitching staff that we have right now. I feel very confident. I think we have one of the best pitching staffs right now in Major League Baseball. I think rankings-wise, we're in the top 10 in almost every single batting, every statistical category you can think of. So that right there shows us that we are doing great, but we can only continue that in the second half if we do what we've been doing in the first half. So, but that is it for me, you guys. Keep watching for more videos here on the channel. As always, keep yourselves together healthy, and I will see you guys next time.